Let's say you've been injured. Let's say a rhinoceros escapes from a zoo and tramples you. Let's say a car hits you. Let's say you're driving your car, you get into a car accident. Then you probably have what's called a personal injury claim. And that means that you think you've been injured and someone else was responsible. What do you need to show? What is it that attorneys look for to decide whether or not your case, your injury case, is a case that they can help you with, and even better yet, they can help you with under what's called a contingent fee contract, meaning that they're not going to charge you unless they win. There are three things, one, two, three, that they're going to look for, and we're going to discuss them. My name is Kaplan Morrell. I'm with the law firm Kaplan Morrell. We've been helping people in Colorado since 1997. They've been injured on the job, or if they need, for example, Social Security disability, we help injured workers and their families get what they deserve. Since 1997, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us. I'm going to put all contact information here by phone, by text, by email. Come and chat with us. All our initial consultations are free. And with that, let's dive into it. Personal injury claims. They're basically what we call, if you've been injured due to the fault of somebody else, you may have a negligence claim against them, and we call that a personal injury claim. You need to show three things. Number one, liability. Number two, damages. Number three, ability to recover. We're going to talk about each one in turn. Stick to the end. I'm going to show you or talk to you about how law firms help you maximize those. You've got to show liability. In other words, you've got to show someone else was negligent. Someone else's carelessness caused your injury. And it's not enough to just show someone out there caused your injury. You've got to show a particular person caused your injury, because you can't sue someone you don't know. You've got to be able to identify them and say, that person was careless and they caused my injury. If you can't identify the particular person, you're going to have a lot of difficulty. In fact, it will be almost impossible to file a lawsuit against someone you don't know. So you've got to show someone was liable. Now, how do you show liability? How do you show negligence? Well, frankly, like in law school, they made us take a class when, I think we spent a whole month or two on just proving of what is negligence. And the negligence can be demonstrated because someone broke the law, someone broke a regulation. But in essence, you have to show kind of three things. Number one, you have to show that they had a duty to you. They had a duty to exercise care to you. Number two, they breached that duty. And number three, that duty caused your injury, caused them to injure you. A lot of details, and a very good and experienced lawyer is going to know how to prove liability. Now, oftentimes, the person being sued, the defendant, they're also going to try to say, in addition to, I was negligent, they may also try to say, hey, you were also negligent. It's called what's called comparative fault, comparative negligence. That, hey, I was only 40% negligence, but you were 60% negligent in the case. I mean, the standard one of these is you weren't wearing your seatbelt, you got ejected from the car, that caused a lot more injuries. And they would say, had you been wearing your seatbelt, had you been careful, you would have been ejected from the car. You are partially at fault too. And different jurisdictions handle what's called comparative fault differently. In some jurisdictions, you can't sue at all. It's a complete out. In some cases, your damages can be reduced by the amount that you were negligent. And in others, you can't recover unless you can show the other side was more than 50% negligence. But again, good, experienced attorney is going to be able to help you figure that out. Damages. You would think this is kind of obvious, but if you've been injured, you should have damages. At a minimum, you should have medical damages. You've incurred medical care, you now have medical bills. Now, it doesn't matter if those bills were paid for by you out of pocket. You got it, your savings, or you had health insurance, or sometimes even you have workers' compensation, and workers' compensation is paying the medical bills. But you've got to show medical damages. And I'm going to tell you, in a personal injury context, medical damages is the pillar, it's the foundation upon which all other damages really need to reside. Because without medical damages, it's kind of hard to prove other damage. Second kind of damage is lost wages, okay? And so these two, medical damages and lost wages, kind of form this category called economic damages. That means I had to pay out this money because of the negligence. Maybe I had to pay out the money for medical bills. Maybe I lost money because I was off work. I was working, but having to earn less. I have lost economic opportunity. I had to pay for a new car. I had to pay things out of pocket. Again, economic damages. So medical damages, kind of the foundation, the pillar, lost wages, other out-of-pocket expenses, etc. Those are all called economic damages. On top of that, then you have other what are called non-economic damages, loss of enjoyment of life, pain and suffering. Your spouse may have what's called a loss of consortium claim if you can no longer be together as you were before. There are many different kinds of damages. There's, in rare cases, even punitive damages. But again, without that base of economic damages in the form of medical bills, form of lost wages, etc., it's hard to proceed with just non-economic damages, if not impossible. You've got to show the damages, and you've got to show sometimes the damages were substantial enough to even pursue filing a claim, pursuing a lawsuit. If you just injured your finger and it was a stitch or a Band-Aid, $300 in medical bills, and that's it, chances are you really don't have a lawsuit that a lawyer is willing to handle for you under the contingency fee system. But if you've got medical bill damages in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you're looking at a sizable lawsuit that is going to be attractive to any lawyer to be able to pursue on your behalf on a contingent fee contract. Third, ability to recover. Now, let's say you've got everything. You've got liability, they were drunk, they ran the red light, you've got horrible damages, you've lost your legs, you've lost an eye, you were in the hospital for 70 days, you're undergoing therapy and surgeries, and your medical bills alone are $500,000, $600,000, and you've got lost wages, you've been off work for a year, you can never go back to earning the $150,000 a year you used to. You're now down to maybe only be able to work part-time, and you're only able to make $30,000 a year. You've got huge economic damages. And with that, no wonder there's also pain and suffering, and etc. Okay. What happens if Bill Gates hits you, Elon Musk, any billionaire, right? Warren Buffett, right? They're going to be able to pay that $2 million judgment against them, right? They're going to be able to pull out a check. They may even be able to Venmo it to you. They probably own Venmo, and you're fine. But unless you are fortunate enough to be able to be injured by them, you're looking at making a claim not against the person directly per se, but against their insurance policy. So you've really got to figure out what insurance policies are out there that will help the person you get a judgment against be able to pay you. And here's where it gets very complicated, because most people, for example, in Colorado, as I'm filming this, the minimum insurance that you have to have by law is you have to have what's called $25,000 indemnity policy, which means that if you injure somebody, your insurance will at least pay $25,000. Well, as you can imagine, most serious personal injuries, the damages are way more than $25,000. And yet, if you get injured, right, have that $1 million, $600,000 in medical benefits, medical bills, you've got, another $1 million in lost wages, both present, past, and future, etc. And the kid who hit you is 19, working a minimum wage job, and has a $25,000 policy, what's going to happen? You're going to get $25,000. And anything you get above and beyond that against the kid, he or she is just going to file bankruptcy, and now you've got nothing. Okay? So what do you do? Well, a good and seasoned lawyer is going to look for, are there other insurance policies that we can also bring in to the situation to increase your ability to recover more? It might be other insurance that the other driver has. It may be other insurance because maybe some safety feature failed. Maybe the seatbelt failed. Maybe there was some issue with the car maintenance, etc. Maybe you've also purchased, for example, you may have purchased uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. It's called UM coverage. And that's where, hey, if someone who doesn't have anything hits me and they only have $25,000 insurance, or they have no insurance, I want my insurance to cover my damages. That's another kind of policy that you may have. But a good lawyer is going to be able to look at this situation and say, what other insurances can I gather in order to have recovery? Three things: fault or liability, damages, ability to recover. If you move one of them, you only have two of them, 2 out of 3 doesn't get you anywhere. 1 out of 3 certainly doesn't. You have to have all three. And without it, you don't have a claim, period. So what do lawyers do? What lawyers are going to do is they're going to be able to help establish liability. They're going to be able to prove that the other person was negligent. They're going to be able to maximize your damages, make sure that the damages that you truly suffered are counted, included, etc. And 3, they're going to be looking for all the different policies of insurance that might be available to you to make sure that you are compensated and made whole as much as possible. With that, you really got to talk with an attorney about the particulars of your case. And if this video is helpful for you, please hit like, subscribe. Please put any comments down below and questions down below. Again, contact us if you've been injured. We'd love to help you. Our initial consultations are free. And with that, thank you for spending part of your day with me.